Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel and blog. I'm Jenny Hall. Thanks for joining me for another card making tutorial. Today I am going to demonstrate the technique of masking whenever you're using a stamped image. I'm working with the In the Meadow stamp set, and I'll also be doing my coloring with watercolor, and I'll be using Stampin Write markers. These are the markers that I'm using here, and I will limit to just the markers that are shown. To start off masking, this is going to be a very, it's more of a complicated image or complicated scene, but it's a very simple process. Masking basically means that you're going to stamp an image and then you're going to cover it up and then do some more stamping around that image, but the cover up portion that you made, which is called the mask, is going to be protected, because you're going to have, you can use some sort of paper to do your masking. Every crafter has their own preference on what they like to use for masking paper, and that's all great and well. Use what works best for you. What I like to use is there is a full sheet of masking paper, and what that means is that it's like one gigantic label. And the front of it is regular paper and the back of it is sticky. And then there's a part that you pull off on the back so that it makes like a sticker. So you can use different things for masking. You can use a post note. You can use anything that has a low tack. You can use like the Avery style labels that you can get from your Office Depot or Staples or Walmart. Anything with a low tack, and low tack would be defined as some sort of a stickiness that is not going to actually stay stuck to your paper. So I will be able to pull this sticker, for use of a better word, I will be able to pull the sticker off. In fact, you can even reuse it multiple times until the image gets all funky. So I always save my mask. To do the stamping today, I'm using a stamp positioner, and there are several different choices out on the market now. I have not tried anything except for the Misty, because when I purchased mine, I only had the option of getting a Misty. And the way that I like to do this type of stamping is when I use markers, then I can isolate a certain area, and I can re-stamp over the exact area that I just stamped and not worry about not being able to stamp in exactly the right place. So that would be the reason why I choose to use a stamp positioner whenever I do use it. I know there's a couple of different ones that are out now, and this is a tool that is a little bit more on the pricey side. So if your crafting budget allows you to use a stamp positioner, then go for it. It's a great tool to have. The paper that I am using today to do the stamping on is Bristol paper, and Bristol is a type of paper. It's not a brand. You can get it from your like any sort of a large craft store, or you can go online and buy it at Amazon. They've got lots of different types. What I'm doing with the stamped image that is being protected with the mask is I'm doing all sorts of stamping around it. And a lot of people use the masking technique when they're working with watercoloring. You can do it, you don't have to watercolor whenever you're doing masking. You can, say for example, if you wanted to stamp out some balloons and you wanted to have one balloon be the focus right on the front of the card, then you can mask off that balloon, and what it would do is it would allow you to stamp all around it without having that one image being spoiled or being touched. It would look like it was right out in front of everything else. So I've done away with the stamp positioner at this point, and I'm using just a clear block to use a small stamp of a little area of grass. The one thing that I like to use with Bristol paper and markers is my water brush, and you could choose to use a blender pen. But the reason I chose Bristol paper is that it works very easily with markers. And whenever I'm using markers, I can isolate an image on a stamp so that, for example, I can use more than one color of marker on a stamp, like one for the flower and one for the green area. If I'm using this mask, then I can peel it off as I did, and what is left over is the area that is going to be the forefront of the card. So since I stamped out the deer, the mommy deer and the baby deer, and that ink is kind of dry, and so I'm using one of the markers with my water brush and going tip to tip to apply a little bit more color. Normally, if I don't wait too long, then I'm able to get the marker to move around very, very easily without any problems at all. So going tip to tip with a water brush and a marker is always a really great way to get exactly the right amount of color that you're looking for in a particular area. For the background on this scene, I chose the mountain stamp, and I'm able to add, I think it was 3 different colors. I wanted to bring that purplishness that mountains often have, and I was able to have the purple just in the middle of the mountains, and then have the gray marker be the outlining of the mountains. For this area on the foreground, I'm using the tip to tip technique to bring the, it's always artichoke is the name of the color. I chose some unusual colors for me. I don't always use these colors on cards, and I wanted to use something that was kind of a little bit more away from my go-to colors that I use so often. So I thought it would be nice to bring that very earthy green color of always artichoke. On the image of the deers, I used just the tips of the marker to go in and use my water brush to move the color around for the ears. I really like this stamp set. This is one of those that I have not used before, but I've had it in my craft stash, and I just like to look at it. It's so pretty. The hand-drawn images are so nice. I admire this stamp set very much. In order to give this image a little bit of, this is not a typical card. This is a watercolored card, and so to make it a little more special for the image and for the person receiving the card, I put a piece of copper foil on as a mat. And I'll give you guys some measurements. My card base is 3.5 by 7. This is an unusual size for me. And I used the copper paper at 3 by 6 1/4, and the Bristol paper was cut to 2 3/4 by 6. This is some linen thread that I am wrapping around, and because this can be a card that is for male or for female, I wanted to keep the embellishments more on the neutral side. So linen thread is something that I find that's really nice and earthy, and it doesn't go a little too, there's not too much sparkle to it, so it would be okay for a guy too. Thank you guys for joining me for another card making tutorial. I invite you to go over to my blog at jennystampsup.com, and there you will find daily card making inspiration. While there, you can choose to subscribe to my blog, and you'll receive an email every day into your inbox. It'll have a new card idea every day. I also want to thank all the new subscribers for my YouTube channel. I really appreciate you guys subscribing, and I would love to see all of the likes on the videos. And if there's any particular project that you guys have in mind, then drop me a line and I will be happy to tackle a new project. This video is the first in a series of videos that I'm doing on the masking technique. So stay tuned every Tuesday for the next several weeks, and we'll get a new video on masking.
Thanks for watching the video. See you next time.